Hi, this is Red Chair Reading with Hobie Wan. We are reading The Ghost at Skeleton Rock, a Hardy Boys mystery by Franklin W. Dixon. Chapter 3, The Hijacked Dummy. This one is about 5 pages. Ambush, Joe flashed his brother a startled glance. Frank clenched his fists. I don't know what's going on back there, but let's find out. With their hearts thumping and their fists ready for trouble, the Hardys dashed around the corner of the barn, then stopped dead in open-mouthed astonishment. The only person in sight was Chet Morton, propped up against the back of the barn. Hi, fellows, he greeted them, lifting his eyebrows in an innocent deadpan look, expecting someone else. But where are those 2 men we heard? Joe asked in surprise. You're looking at 'em, pal, both of 'em, Chet replied. To prove this, he switched over to his 2 tough guy voices and uttered a few more blood-curdling threats. You? Frank could hardly believe his ears. That's right, the stout boy chuckled. A slight case of ventriloquism, gentlemen. Learned it from the books. Thought it might come in handy helping you fellows on your cases. He burst into laughter. Oh boy, did you 2 ever fall for my act. Hook, line, and sinker. And that phone call begging for help? Joe growled. That was just a trick too. To get us over here? Chet nodded, but don't hold it against me. The Hardy Boys grinned. Then Frank said, You sure fooled us. I'll say you're good. I sure am, Chet agreed. In fact, I may make a career out of ventriloquism. He went on, turning serious. Man, I can see myself now doing a big show on television. Chet Morton, man of many voices, world's greatest imitator. I think that would be Frank Caliendo, right? He's the greatest imitator. Okay. This time it was the Hardys' chance to needle their friend. World's greatest appetite, you mean, Joe hooted, otherwise known as Chet Morton, man of many helpings. Chet's moon face took on a hurt look. Oh, okay. Just because I happen to appreciate good food, he sulked. If you fellows don't think I'm ready for the big time, just listen to this. He jerked his thumb toward the house and whispered, Here comes my pesky cousin Jimmy. A moment later, a little girl's shrill, whiny voice. Ginny, it's Ginny. Her whiny voice came drifting around the corner of the barn. Oh, Chet, your mother says you better get in the house right this minute and start cleaning up the basement. You hear me? You better come quick, or I'm going to tell her just where you're hiding. The boys were amazed at the demonstration. Chet's lips had hardly moved. That's pretty convincing, Chet, said Frank. Chet looked somewhat mollified. It ought to be good, he bragged. I've been studying and practicing secretly a whole month. I'm even thinking of buying a Hugo. A Hugo? Frank and Joe gasped together. Sure, Chet said calmly. The same kind of dummy Professor Fox uses. Oh, the Hardys relaxed as they recalled the act to which Chet was referring. Professor Fox was a star ventriloquist on TV. His dummy, Hugo, had become so popular that it was being copied and sold on a large scale. The dummy came in various priced models. I'm going to get the most expensive Hugo on the market, Chet bragged. I've been saving to buy it by doing extra chores around the farm. I have enough money now. But then Chet's bull terrier, Spud, came wandering out to see what was going on. Watch me fool him, Chet said with a wink at his friends. Over there, boy. He pointed to a clump of bushes and threw his voice once again. Here, Spud. Come on, boy. Got a nice, thick, juicy steak for you. Come on, fella. Instead of responding, the bull terrier stood still, eyeing his master quizzically. Chet lost his temper. Well, go on, dopey. What are you waiting for? The bull terrier merely panted and wagged his tail. Wow, did you ever fool him? Frank jibed. Both he and Joe doubled up with laughter. Chet turned beet red and grumpily threw his dog a stick to chase. Then he casually suggested, Let's get some lemonade and cookies. On the way back to the house, Joe said thoughtfully, Some of those Hugos come with oriental turbans, don't they, Chet? The better models do, replied the stout boy. Why? Oh, just a hunch. I had about something. Turning to his brother, Joe went on. Do you suppose Dad's message might have referred to one of those dummies? Frank nodded. It's an idea. Don't tell me you fellows are wrestling with another mystery, Chet inquired uneasily. Right. And you're just the one to help us solve it, Joe told Chet, slapping him on the back. Not me, Chet protested with a shoulder. A shudder, not a shoulder. Getting involved in the Hardys' crime cases always gave Chet the jitters, although the roly-poly high school boy already had been through several dangerous adventures with Joe and Frank. This won't get you into any danger, Joe assured him. Hastily, he explained about the puzzling message which Mr. Hardy had sent from Puerto Rico. Where do I come in? Chet asked suspiciously. When you go shopping for a Hugo dummy, just keep your eyes open. Better yet, let us go with you. Maybe we'll run across some kind of a clue. Well, I guess I could go along that far with you, Chet agreed grudgingly. Where did you plan on buying your dummy? Frank asked. Bivens, novelty shop. That's where I've been getting all my books on ventriloquism. Okay, let's go. After stopping in the house for lemonade with the girls and to pick up Chet's wallet, the three boys piled into the convertible and drove off. A few minutes later, they pulled up in front of the novelty shop on King Street. A bell tinkled as they walked in, and Mr. Biven, the squat, bald-headed proprietor, came out of the back room to greet them. He beamed at the trio across the counter. Something you'd like, boys? Chet said he wanted to look over the store's stock of ventriloquist dummies. One by one, Mr. Biven showed his stock. But Chet turned them all down and asked for a Hugo dummy. The proprietor went to his storeroom and emerged presently with a cardboard box. It contained a Hugo dummy, clad in a tuxedo and red turban. I just received this today, Mr. Biven said, taking out the dummy. Chet set it on the counter and began putting on an impromptu ventriloquist act. Frank watched, chuckling for a moment. Then he picked up the instruction sheet, which was lying on the box, and began to read it. The simple directions were printed in 3 languages, English, French, and Spanish. The doorbell tinkled again, and 2 men entered the shop. One was tall and rough-looking, with large ears that stuck out from his head. The other was short and swarthy complexioned. Joe, who was standing alongside Chet and Frank, watched the men out of the corner of his eye. They stopped in front of a tray full of water pistols and began picking them over. It looked as though they were killing time until the proprietor could wait on them. Okay, I guess I'll take this one, Chet decided finally. As he pulled out his wallet to pay for the dummy, Mr. Biven put the figure back in the box and started to wrap it. Good thing you stopped in today, son, he remarked chattily. This here's the only Hugo in stock. If you waited any longer, I reckon you'd have been plumb out of luck. Just a minute, said the tall man, stepping forward. That dummy is exactly what I've been looking for. And how much is the kid paying for it? $18.95. Then I'll give you $20. Mr. Biven hesitated. He hated to lose the extra profit, but Chet was a good customer, and he didn't want to offend him. Nope, I'm sorry, the deal's already closed. 25. Mr. Biven gulped and shook his head. I told you before, mister. It's no go. First come, first served. Dummy's already sold to Chet here. Grinning triumphantly, Chet counted out the money, but as the proprietor turned to ring up the sale on the cash register, the short man suddenly whipped out a shiny blue steel revolver. It's a cinch that gun's no toy, thought Joe, wincing. We want that dummy, snarled the short man. As Chet stood quaking, the tall fellow grabbed Hugo off the counter. That is the end of chapter 3. And let's see. Oh, this is the part where I say click the button over there for the next chapter and click subscribe to subscribe. All right. Thank you for watching. Clicky.